Hey everyone, it's Representative Evan Goyke, Friday, February 5th, and wanted to just send a little video rewind of what has happened in Madison over the last week or so, a couple weeks, regarding legislation on the state's COVID-19 response, as well as the governor's emergency order and statewide mask mandate. So to summarize, this is an absolute mess, and the Republicans in Madison have absolutely no idea what they're doing and no real plan or agenda, and so it's been start, stop, and lots of twists and turns. So let's start with Assembly Bill 1. Assembly Bill 1 was introduced to be the Republicans' main COVID relief response legislation. This was after 275 days of not acting from April all the way until January of this year, April of 20 to January of 2021. And that bill had, lots and lots of inherent problems and power grabs and poison pills that were meant to jab at Governor Evers and try to score partisan political points. It did include some core pieces that Democrats agree with, the core pieces that were in that legislation that was bipartisan back in April of 2020. After the Assembly acted and had all of those provisions, Senate Republicans negotiated with Governor Evers to remove the vast majority of those problematic pieces and really just focus on where we agreed upon. And so you can see here headlines, and you may have read them, about a compromise version of a COVID bill. But the Assembly Republicans, when that bill came back to the Assembly, after being changed in the Senate, Assembly Republicans could not go along with it. They could not agree with that compromise, and they reattached poison pills, the most troubling of which is a provision that would give them basically unfettered oversight of federal dollars that we receive relating to COVID-19 through the Joint Committee on Finance. And so that would mean that we would add more bureaucracy, more delay, and more partisan politics in the state's administration of federal relief funding. That could be food insecurity, housing relief, dollars for vaccine distribution. And let me tell you, when we get that federal money, we need to spend it, and we need to act, and we don't need to go through the halls of Madison with these different delay mechanisms and hearings and bickering. So Assembly Republicans put those problem provisions back into Assembly Bill 1, and the bill was kicked back to the Senate. The Senate made a small change about the emergency orders that got kicked back to the Assembly. The Assembly made another small change to that provision, and so here on the screen you can see an infographic that legislative Democrats have created. Here's a map, a road map of the twists and turns and the chaos that has been trying to pass COVID relief legislation in Madison. And let me pause and say, just when you see this disjointed legislative approach, this is the proof that we don't want legislative Republicans in charge of federal funds. It has been weeks of disagreement internally with them. Start, stop, start, amend, unamend, re-amend. They've shown us that they're not capable of acting swiftly with the bold leadership that we need. So they cannot be trusted, and it's why this provision is so damaging in Assembly Bill 1. Let's also not forget, on the mask mandate side, that the same party was going to rush forward a resolution, or did rush forward a resolution, to end the emergency order and the statewide mask mandate without knowing the full ramifications of their action. They never held a public hearing on the resolution. They never had any kind of input session, and despite having 60 different organizations in opposition, they went forward with it. Now, back last week, we were able to help delay the passage or the repeal of the statewide executive order on masks. And we did that by doing our homework. And you can see here, we unearthed, thanks to the good work of the people at Hunger Task Force, who are in the trenches helping people in poverty find food. They realized or identified that there were federal implications. We validated those implications through the Nonpartisan Fiscal Bureau, and then got that out to the press in time, and had a victory last week. We had a victory where legislative Democrats, because of our work and work that I was happy to participate in, were able to throw a wrench in the plans, delay. We knew a lot more about the ramifications of repealing the mask mandate, and that changed the entire dynamic. So this week, the Republicans did move forward with the repeal of the executive order and the mask mandate. However, Governor Evers, about an hour after we voted to make that official, issued another order, a new order, which will exist for 60 days unless the Republicans in the legislature come back with an additional resolution to revoke the order. This could go on. Order, revocation, order, revocation, order. And you know, I just want to say that I support what Governor Evers has done. We are in an emergency. We need the mask mandate in place. We need to continue to receive these federal funds. There really isn't any position that he should be negotiating on about whether there should be an order or not. It should be there. It should be. It is the masks and in enforcing this order is one of the most important tools to mitigating the spread of COVID-19 that we have in our arsenal, and we need to use it now. And the better that we do, the longer that we adhere, and the better we each as individuals do, the faster our recovery is. Vaccines are being distributed. This is the time not to let up and take a different course. It's a time to get past the finish line and end this thing. So there is a statewide mask mandate in place. The governor issued an additional executive order hour after the Assembly Republicans voted to end the previous order. And so that has not changed. There really was no change there. We are still receiving the federal benefits because there's a new order in place. Masks are required as they were previously, and this back and forth is going to continue, unfortunately, in Madison. I hope you just kind of understand that better a little bit now, some of the twists and turns, the Assembly to the Senate, back to the Assembly. Really the heart of the matter is the agenda for Republicans in Madison right now is to do anything to attack or to tarnish Governor Evers. They have not introduced any kind of real, meaningful, thorough plan for addressing COVID or for recovering from the pandemic, and so this is more games, more partisanship. And fortunately, Democrats in the legislature were able to score some victories over the last couple of weeks. And fortunately, Governor Evers has issued a new order. So that's where we are. We're kind of back to square one. But the good news behind all of that, while that's frustrating, is we've avoided doing damage. We've avoided going down a road that would have done harm and set us back in this state. And so if nothing else, we've avoided doing that harm. And sometimes that in the legislative context needs to be seen as a victory. So I hope that helps. Continue to tune in. We'll keep you updated, and stay tuned, because in just a matter of a week and a half, we're going to have the state budget, and we'll be sending you lots and lots of information about the proposed state budget. Thanks.